Hello everyone, we're going to be going over section 6.3 and this is going to be in our recent exam, so let's just go over it really quickly. So section 6.3 is covering finding probability. Now probability has three different ways of finding it depending on which situation you are in. So we're going to be finding a probability that is greater than a sample mean. That would lead us to be using 1 minus the z-value. We're going to be finding a probability of the mean being less than, then we're going to be just finding the z-value. Now we're going to be finding the sample mean between a number and a number. We would be using the greater z-value minus the lesser z-value, or z-value 1, z-value 2. Now how we're going to be finding those z-values is by finding z, using this formula right here. And whatever z we find there, we're going to be going over to the SNCPT, or the t-table, and locate that z-value. So let's put this into some word problems. So an example of a greater than probability problem is number 7. Find the probability that a sample mean will be greater than 11. So the strong word is greater than. That leads us to be using this one right here, 1 minus z-value. So how we interpret that is in this work. So we will put 11 right there. Here are the rest of the numbers. We'll be finding z, in this case 1.34. Go over to the z-table, find 1.34, mostly on the positive side. And then that is going to be our z-value, 0.90909. And it would be 1 minus that number, and we would get our answer, 0.0901, which is alpha. So that is an example of a greater than situation. Now an example of finding a sample mean between a number and a number is right below number 7, number 8. Find the probability that the average mileage on the fleet is between 27.2 and 28.8 miles per gallon. So as you can see, we have two numbers are in between each other. So we're going to be using this formula right here, the greater z-value minus the shortest z-value. So again, we're going to be finding the z-value by finding z first. So over here in the work, we plug in the sample mean, or the x, with these numbers. And then we get these two numbers. Find that over here on the z table. Then we get these z values. Now what's important is that we do the greater number minus the smaller number, so that we can get a positive answer. So I did the greater number, 0.8340 minus the lesser number, 0.1660. That would equal a 0.668, which is not B. So that is an example of a between number and number. Now we got one more left. So an example of a less than, or this guy right here, simple mean is less than a number, we would be finding the z-value. So the key word is obviously less than 46.9 years. So we would plug in the 46.9 for the x, get the z. In this case, it's going to be 7125, which I round to 0.71. Again, go to the z table, and then we get 0.7611, and then that is going to be our answer. But in this case, we would transfer it into a percentage, and it's a little bit more complicated. But since our answer is closest to 75.8, we would round that down to that. But overall, you would just be finding the z-value, or just finding the z, going to the table, and then as soon as you get that z value, you're done. So that pretty much covers it. You guys can copy this little cheat sheet right here, and I hope you guys have a good night. Bye-bye.